Hello everyone, welcome to our YouTube channel MediConcept. Let's start today with folic acid or simply folate. Now the dietary sources of folate, they are yeast, green vegetables, pulses, cereals, oil seeds, etc. Egg also contain folic acid, but milk is very poor source. Daily allowance is 200 microgram per day. It is 400 microgram per day in pregnancy. In lactation, it is 300 microgram per day. Therapeutic dose is 1000 microgram per day orally. So, we can understand that if there is a need beyond the normal level, then also it is oral. Question is why? The answer is the solubility of folic acid is low. Large IV dose can create crystallization and subsequently there are chances of acute renal damage. Now, folic acid toxicity is also documented. That means hypervitaminosis of folic acid that can lead to vitamin B12 deficiency and create neurological sign symptoms. That mechanism is not discussed here in this video. Latin word folium means green vegetables, leaves of green vegetables specifically. Now we know that folic acid is abundantly present in vegetables, so the name is justified. Chemically, it is pteroyl glutamic acid. How it is synthesized? It's a two-step process not occur in our body. In the first step, the pteridine and PABA. PABA means para-aminobenzoic acid. So pteridine and PABA condense to form pteroic acid. Look at this diagram. In the left side, it is pteridine. In the right side, it is PABA. These two combines to form pteroic acid. Now in the second step, this pteroic acid combines with glutamic acid to form pteroyl glutamic acid. Now this pteroyl glutamic acid is nothing but folic acid. So pteroic acid when combines with glutamic acid, it forms pteroyl glutamic acid or folic acid. Dietary folic acid is absorbed from upper part of jejunum. It first enters within the portal blood. Via portal blood, it reaches the hepatic sinusoids, mixing our blood there. Through hepatic portal vein, then internalized within the liver. Here, within the liver cell or hepatocyte, activation takes place. We know all our water-soluble vitamins mainly function as coenzymes. Folic acid is not an exception. So, after activation, folic acid is now ready to act as coenzyme in different biochemical reaction. Now, this activation is also a two-step process. Here we are discussing the reactions in human hepatocytes, but please listen, this reaction can also occur in bacteria and other lower organisms. Now, in the first step, folic acid is reduced to form dihydrofolic acid. Here, who will do the reduction? The name of the enzyme is folic acid reductase or folate reductase. Now, sources of extra hydrogen obtained from NADPH. Look at this diagram. Folic acid, in presence of folic acid reductase and in presence of NADPH, it is reduced to form dihydrofolic acid or dihydrofolate. Now I told that it's a two-step process, so one step is remaining. In the second step, similar types of reaction occur. dihydrofolic acid is further reduced to form tetrahydrofolic acid. Enzyme is dihydrofolic acid reductase. Here also NADPH is used as reducing bioequivalent. Look at this diagram carefully. In presence of dihydrofolic acid reductase enzyme and also in presence of NADPH, dihydrofolic acid converts into tetrahydrofolic acid. Now, folic acid, or better to speak tetrahydrofolic acid, and its different substituted forms involve in 1-carbon metabolism. To correlate the different forms with simple tetrahydrofolic acid, 2 nitrogen placed in the structure should be named properly or positioned properly. One is called N5 nitrogen, present in the pteridine nucleus. Another is N10 nitrogen, present on the PABA. So look at this diagram carefully. This first, it is a simple diagram of tetrahydrofolic acid. Now in the left side, this is the N5 nitrogen. In the right side, this is the N10 nitrogen. This position you should learn carefully because there are different substituted version of the tetrahydrofolic acid. Now, what are 1-carbon groups? 1-carbon groups are involved in our metabolic process very abundantly. Some of the 1-carbon groups are methyl group, methylene group, methinyl group, formyl group, formimino group. One group is not given in this slide, that means hydroxymethyl group. Okay, so methyl, methylene, methinyl, formyl, formimino. Now look at this structure. Here in N10 position, formyl group is attached. So what will be the name? It is simply N10 formyl tetrahydrofolic acid. Look at the next diagram. Here in N5 position, formyl group is attached. So what should be called? It is N5 formyl tetrahydrofolic acid. Next diagram. Here in N5 position, methyl group is attached. So its name is N5 methyl tetrahydrofolic acid. Here in N5 position, another new group is there. This is formimino group. So this is called N5 formimino tetrahydrofolic acid. Look at this diagram. Unlike the previous one, here both N5 and N10 molecule are engaged. The bond has made not only in N5 but also it is with N10, and there is a connection in between. This is called N5 N10 methylene tetrahydrofolic acid. Next, just like the previous one, this is also there is involvement of both N5 and N10, but here the group is different. That is why its name is N5 N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolic acid. Now, the dietary tetrahydrofolate, or simply folate when converted into tetrahydrofolate, I am showing a simple flowchart. You please remember this for long time, for lifetime. The tetrahydrofolate, it converts into N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate, or it can convert into N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. I had used the yellow color diagram as reversible step, whereas the white arrows are the irreversible step. Now, both N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate and N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, they have role in de novo purine synthesis. Now from N10 formyl tetrahydrofolate, N5N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolate can be obtained, and those are connected with the N5N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolate. From N5N10 methinyl tetrahydrofolate, there can be two probability or possibility. One is N5 formyl tetrahydrofolate, which is also known as folinic acid, and another is N5 formimino tetrahydrofolate. Now N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate, when it converts into N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate, it's a dead end. The reaction is irreversible. So when the different substituted version of folic acid, they, after their normal action, they converted into methyl tetrahydrofolate, there is no way normally in this diagram through that we can convert the methyl tetrahydrofolate in its original form and to reuse again and again, but there are another way out. So we will learn this later. Just now look at this slide and please try to remember this reaction, the N5 methyl tetrahydrofolate formation. It's a dead end. That is called clinically as methyl folate trap. We will learn later. Now, sources of one carbon group. What are the sources of one carbon group? The sources can be serine, one is histidine, another is tryptophan. Coming to serine, look at this diagram carefully. Here, serine to glycine formation occurs, and you can appreciate the name of the enzyme is serine hydroxymethyl transferase. Here, you can also appreciate that tetrahydrofolate comes simply tetrahydrofolate, but when it, after the reaction, it converted into N5N10 methylene tetrahydrofolate. So the methylene group, one carbon group, that is donated by serine. So this is one reaction. Another reaction, here look at the step number 4. Step number 4. Here formiminoglutamate acid. Formiminoglutamate acid removes its one carbon group to tetrahydrofolic acid. Now tetrahydrofolic acid is converted into formiminotetrahydrofolic acid, whereas Figlu itself converted into glutamic acid. So one carbon group is transferred. This is the second reaction. The third reaction, this is the pathway of tryptophan metabolism. Here in the second step, from N-formyl kynurenine, the formyl group is donated to tetrahydrofolic acid. So now tetrahydrofolic acid converted into formyl tetrahydrofolic acid, whereas the N-formyl kynurenine, after removal of its formyl group, converted into simple kynurenine. The remaining part of this folic acid lecture will be discussed in the next video. Thank you.